Okay, I don't know how to tell you this, but for a very long period of time, I was trying to get an opportunity to record the video of the internal parts of the ventilator so that we can get a better understanding of some flow sensors and alarms and all those things, precious things. And fortunately, we got an opportunity today. Pawan was a service engineer for the ventilator, which came to do a service in the ventilator. We had some issue, and I requested him whether he can explain certain things. So he agreed for that, and he showed the internal parts of the ventilator in a beautiful way. And I was not carrying any camera with me. I was just having my phone and AirPods with me. So one AirPod I used, and the one AirPod I gave to the Pawan for describing to be used as a mic. And we recorded, everything was recorded. But when we reviewed it in the end, so the Pawan's voice was not captured in the video. It was most of the time it remained blank. And whatever good discussion we had during the uh, things for the ventilator, it was not captured. His voice was not captured. So it was not a good thing. So we thought that we'll discard the whole video section. There's no point in uploading it. But then my team members who were witnessing and those who were understanding the thing, they said that we can try one more thing. The sections of the the portions where the service engineer Pawan's voice was not coming. I can voice over those sections, and then we can edit in a certain way that the whole video makes some sense. So I will go to home today from the hospital as soon as I'll get free, and then we'll try to edit in a way with my voiceover so the whole video makes sense and make you understand something out of it. So I'm sorry for this voice issue. So please bear with me. At the end of the video, please do let me know in the comments whether this video makes some sense or not, whether it was helpful to you or not. And thank you. Let's go to home and edit the video. Thank you. Okay, so before I start editing and you watch the video, I want to tell you a few things. So this will make the watching the video understanding a little bit more clear. So how the ventilator works in very simple way, there is a two lines which are coming into the ventilator. One is your oxygen line and the other is the air chamber. One is oxygen, the other is air. So by mixing the air and the oxygen, we decide how much FiO2 we need to give to the patient, 21% or 50% or 100%, the proportion changes. When this both lines goes to the ventilator, there are flow sensors in the ventilator which checks whether the set tidal volume is need to be delivered or what is the set tidal volume we need to deliver, and they adjust accordingly. Then they go through pressure walls, means the correct pressure is there. If the pressure is high, they don't deliver. Then again, there is a safety wall or oxygen sensor, whether the mixture is providing correct amount of oxygen, 50%, 60%, whatever we have set on the ventilator. Then the air leaves the ventilator, goes to the inspiratory circuit to the patient. From there comes to the expiratory circuit, and then in the expiratory, when it enters the ventilator, again the ventilator senses how much tidal volume is getting back from the ventilator. Suppose we have said 450. So 450 should be received at the expiration and exhalation point. For measuring the how much tidal volume is there, there is a flow sensor at the expiratory limb also, which is expiratory flow sensor. It senses how much tidal volume we have received. And there is a safety valve also. That safety valve senses how is there any leak in the tidal volume. So there are 1 or 2% leak is there in the circuit. So if we 450 we have delivered, if it is 440 or 444, it adjusts. But if it is 400 or 350, that means there is leak. So this was in simple way of the circuit of the ventilator. Now I'll try to edit it all the clips and make some sense out of it with my voice layover. And if in the end, if it was useful, do let me know in the comments. Okay, so with me is Pawan, and he is a service engineer for our ventilator machine. And today he will be helping us to understand the mechanism how the ventilator works. So in the next frames, you will see the Pawan's face explaining certain things. The point of explaining this is you should have a basic understanding of how the air comes, how the oxygen comes, and how they get mixed. And this will make you understand a little bit in better way to understand the graphs and the tidal volume generation on the ventilator. So I'll switch the camera and then Pawan will explain how the ventilator works. Okay, Pawan. So can you tell us how the oxygen and air which is coming to the ventilator works? Means we have two ports which are there. One is oxygen and one is the air, and both of them goes into the ventilator. So from there, how the ventilator handles it? See, he's opening the inspiratory side of the ventilator. You can see that the this white one is of oxygen and the black is of air. Yeah, you can see there. You see that white one is for the oxygen somewhere, and black one is for the air. This is the kit he is removed from the inspiratory side. So once he opens up, we'll see what are the walls are there.
Okay, so now this is the air, medical air which is coming in the inspiratory circuit, and it is going to the flow sensor of the medical air. From the flow sensor, it is going to the P sole, which is the pressure checking valve, which checks whether the right amount of pressure is coming in the medical air or not. So this is the oxygen which is coming in the inspiratory circuit, and it is again going and getting checked through the inspiratory flow sensor. This white one you are seeing, this is the inspiratory flow sensor, and from here it is again going to the P sole of the oxygen. Again the pressure is being checked whether it is coming in the correct quantity or not, and after both the pressures are being checked, it get mixed, and it is again after mixing coming to the safety valve, which is again checking whether the tidal volume and the pressure is correct or not. Once again a check is done. Now where they get mixed, this is the circuit in which both of them guessed. So he Pawan is opening up and will show that where they get mixed, means the medical layer and the oxygen. Okay, so Pawan has now opening the mixing chamber where air and oxygen is getting mixed. So from here you can see the black medical air is comes into the inspiratory circuit. It passes to the flow sensor, and once to the flow sensor it goes to the pressure sensor P sole, which they say that. The similar thing, he is opening the P sole and show you how it looks like the pressure sensor. This is the pressure sensor. So the pressure sensor is for the medical air and the same is for the oxygen, and both of them then get mixed in the mixer.
This is the mixer where both of them will get blend. Suppose we have set 30% FiO2, 50% FiO2, 100% FiO2. Based on the settings, they will adjust the proportions of air and oxygenation and then will deliver to the patient. So it is here where it is done. Inside here where it is done.
So after getting mixed the medical air and the oxygen, both of them then pass through the from mixer to this safety valve. This safety valve again checks whether the correct amount of tidal volume is getting delivered or not, or the pressure is correct or not, and from there then the mixed air, the set amount of FiO2 with pressure is delivered to the inspiratory limb. There from where the inspiratory limbs get connected, and this is delivered to the patient. Now one more thing which remains here is the oxygen sensor. The purpose of this oxygen sensor is again to check whether the correct amount of FiO2 is being delivered or not. Suppose we have said 40% FiO2, 50% FiO2, so whether we are delivering the correct amount of FiO2 to the patient or not. So this is the oxygen sensor, means FiO2 sensor. Technically, it should be said. This is small equipment, but very important. You get an alarm na low FiO2 like that. It is because of this sensor. So Pawan is putting the inspiratory kit back inside the ventilator. It's done, and now we'll move to the expiratory side. So this is the expiratory side of the ventilator. You can see this is the expiratory limb, and this is the expiratory filter. What this does is it filter out all the bacteria and the impurities which are coming from the expiratory port from the ventilator, and it filters out, and then we'll move on to the inside of the expiratory side, which contains the flow sensor and the leak valve. So Pawan is opening the expiratory side of the ventilator, and now you can see he's opened it, and this is the expiratory valve. So how the air comes to the expiratory side? So once it travels through this inspiratory side, the FiO2 air goes to the patient, and from the patient it comes to the expiratory side via this filter. First it comes to the expiratory filter, and this filter filters out all the impurities and the bacteria through it, and from here it goes to the expiratory valve going via the flow sensor. You can see that this is the flow sensor, and it is checking how much amount of tidal volume is coming from the patients, means the expiratory tidal volume, which is being sensed by this flow sensor, how much tidal volume is detected at the expiratory limb. And this is the expiratory valve, basically is a leak center sensor which detects the normal leak in the circuit.
It will control the uh, leak compensations. How much amount of leak can be compensated. There is some leak which can be occurred inside the filter or inside the uh, circuit. Some amount of leak can be compensated. It is 1%, 2%.
So this detects the leak. This valve detects the leak. If it is in the expected amount, it will not give an alarm. But if it is beyond that, there is a leak in the circuit, it will tell us. है ना? So this will tell us that there is a leak in the circuit. Okay. And the thing which is coming out is the expiratory flow sensor. It senses how much tidal volume is getting returned from the patient ventilator patients. Let Praveen check all the walls and all those things. And once we are set with this, we'll tell you how to use this information in interpreting the graphs and the values which are coming on the ventilator screen. Okay.
Pawan is now closing the expiratory limb.
So now we are connecting one to the oxygen port. This is the oxygen port, and this is the air. Black one is the air. Close sensor calibration. Latest loading.
So all test has been passed. So we are connecting a dummy circuit to the ventilator.
This is the inspiratory limb. Air goes from the inspiratory limb to the patient, and from expiratory limb, it goes back to the filter and then to the expiratory flow wall and in the safety valve check. So we have set the tidal volume of 450. That means this much amount of tidal volume we want the patient to get delivered. So what is happening now? And this is the amount of FiO2 which you want. So what is happening? The oxygen and the air is coming to the inspiratory side of the ventilator. Then they will pass both the flow sensors, and they will sense that whether this much amount of tidal volume is getting delivered or not by getting generated. After that, they will go to the pressure sensors so that there is safety valve sort of thing, whether the pressure is fair enough or not, exceeding or low, like that. And then they will go to the mixer. And once they are going into the mixer, they will again safety valve. So it will check again the tidal volume and the pressure. Safety valve's verbal function is, suppose we have set 10 breaths on the ventilator, so it will only open up when we want the inspiration to go inside. Beyond, in between the expiratory phase, it will close it. It will not allow the oxygen and the to go into the inspiratory That's fine. And the oxygen sensor is also there, which will sense the whether we are sending
The correct amount of FiO2 or not.
now this 450 tidal volume, where we can see that because from till here, whether the machine is delivering 450 tidal volume or not, how we'll see that? We'll see that in the graph, volume times scalar. You can see that here is the amount 450, and it is somewhere touching with the around 4, a little bit below, but it is approximating the 450 mark. That means this amount of lungs and all those things, and lungs and all those things. But that means this is the inspiratory limb, this is the expiratory limb. So inspiration is touching 400, 450. That means the amount of tidal volume which we have set is coming out of this inspiratory limb, means it is delivering. Now this will go to the patient, and then patient will send back, go to the filter, the expiratory flow wall, and the flow sensor. And now it will move out. It will move out. It will move out in the environment. Now, where is the expiratory tidal volume? This expiratory flow sensor and the expiratory wall, leak wall, which it is sensing, and the value which is getting shown is here. You see tidal volume exhalation, expiratory. So this is the amount of tidal volume which is being returned to the circuit, and it is sensed by the expiratory flow wall. So suppose this inspiratory limb is delivering 450 tidal volume, but it is if something is leaked there, this will very steeply will fault. There will be a vertical line, and it will tell that there is a leak in the circuit. Now, leak in the circuit can be from here in the circuit to there. One thing, and the second, it can also be an error of the expiratory flow sensor. So you need to figure out where is the problem. So this 450, you need to check it in the inspiratory limb here, and the expiration part you need to check either on the expiratory graph or the expiratory limb here, expiratory value here, expiratory tidal volume here. है ना? If suppose 450 you have set, but this is not reaching the 450 mark, that means there is a problem with the inspiratory circuit. It is not delivering properly. But if it is delivering properly and expiratory tidal volume is not generating properly, that means either there is a leak in the circuit or there is a problem with the flow sensor. So thank you, Praveen. Thank you for all your efforts, and we really appreciate for your time and patience. And you explained us very beautifully. Thank you. So this is an example to demonstrate what we have just understand on the circuit, ventilatory circuit. So this is the inspiratory limb, and this is the expiratory limb. And this is going to the patient, and this is coming back to the patient. This is the filter and the flow sensor. The flow sensor on the inspiratory limb on the inside. We have set the tidal volume 450. So ideally, we should deliver the 450 tidal volume, and the same should be sensed in the expiratory flow sensor. So let's see whether this inspiratory limb is delivering 450 tidal volume or not. How we'll check? We'll check on the graph. So 450 was set. Now we'll see that. You see, this is the inspiratory limb. This is the expiratory limb. This is the inspiratory limb, and this is the expiratory limb. Here you can see it reaching around 450. The plus minus 2-3% is the leak which is expected. So it is somewhere delivering 450, 430, 440 like that. So that means this inspiratory limb is generating 450 tidal volume. The sensors are working fine, and it is going to the patient. Now, what the expiratory tidal volume is getting returned via this filter, and it is being sensed by the flow sensor. If it is not showing 450 or not, what this receiving, how much amount it is receiving, we'll see where it is seen on the ventilator. So this we are seeing here. You see ventilator tidal volume. This is expiratory tidal volume, but here it is 257, 256. So 450 is getting to the patient, but in return, the expiratory limb is showing only 257. So that means there is something wrong. On the expiratory limb, you can see it is not touching the baseline. This is inspiration, and this is the expiratory limb is getting getting closed in between as a vertical line. You see the expiratory limb is getting cut off as a vertical line. That means there is some leak in the circuit. And if there is a leak in the circuit, this sudden cutoff, no, this shows that there is a leak in the circuit. If there is a leak in the circuit, the tidal volume which the flow sensor is receiving at the expiratory flow is telling that we are not providing sufficient tidal volume to the patient. So what will happen? This tidal volume into respiratory rate, the minute ventilation will go down. The total minute ventilation will go down. So if total minute ventilation will go down, then the PCO2 should rise up in the patients because uh, minute ventilation affects the PCO2. Now we have done the ABG. We have checked all the circuit here. We have checked all the circuit, and there is no leak in the circuit. We have checked filters, everything we have checked, and there is no leak in the circuit. In fact, the ABG in the consistent ABGs, 2-3 ABGs which we have done over a period of 6 to 8, 10 hours, they are perfectly fine. That means there is no problem with the circuit. What this problem is, it is because of the expiratory flow sensor of the circuit, which the engineer has come and confirmed, and he will change the flow sensor, and the patient is not affected in any way. The patient is getting ventilated properly. It's just 450 is reaching at the expiratory lane. The sensor is sensing that it is not receiving properly, but the ventilator is fine. Everything is fine, and the patient is not harmed. The only thing is, whenever there is a discrepancy between the set tidal volume, delivered tidal volume, and exhaled tidal volume, you need to figure out what we are dealing, whether there is a problem in the ventilator or there is a problem in the flow sensors. Hope you understand that. Thank you. So that's it. So it took almost 5-6 hours to edit this video. It's now 2 a.m. in the night, and this video will be online by tomorrow morning. So do let me know in the comments, does this video make some sense, or it was of some help? Thank you.